Today's program features.
Good afternoon. How's everyone today? Good. Well, welcome to the May the 2nd meeting of the Rotary Club of Dallas. Founded 107 years ago, this was the first Rotary Club in Texas. I've got a few fun facts for things that happened historically on May the 2nd. On this day in 1933, a local Inverness newspaper, the Inverness Courier, published an account by a local couple who claimed to have seen an enormous animal rolling and plunging on the surface of the Loch Ness. True story. On this day in 1945, Russia announced the fall of Berlin and the capture of 70,000 Germans who had surrendered. On this day in 1972, Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock, was born in Hayward, California, and would later be known as the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. And on this day in 1997, after a landslide victory in British elections, Tony Blair became Britain's youngest prime minister in 185 years. So there's some fun facts for today. You might be wondering what I'm doing up here. Your president, Howard Templin, is actually working. He has a day job, you guys, so he has an all-day meeting today, and he couldn't be here. So I am filling in for him today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dana DeVance, and this is great practice for me because I'm president-elect. So, well, we'll just get started. Today, our invocation will be given by Susan Fleming, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Courtney Nicolato, so please come on up. And we do have a special presentation where our guests will be announced.
Before we pray, I wanted us to just contemplate for a moment the arc of life. At each end of that arc, is need for concentrated care. At the beginning of life, as you know, we as parents give a lot of encouragement, development of independence. We grow into our years of total independence, and that can last a different period of time for each of us. But at the end of that arc, we're kind of reversing that cycle from going from independent to more and more dependence. So let's just keep that in mind with our speaker today. And now, in the name of God of many names, we pray, grant those of us who are in the position of caring for others the mental and physical strength required. Grant that we seek the help we need, and that we focus our caregiving on preserving the dignity of those in our care. We ask that you bless our caregivers. Amen.
Amen. All right. Let's start the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Susan and Kearney. Susan, that was beautiful. Thank you. Birthdays today. One of our newest Rotarians, Tim Mallard. Are you here today, Tim? I don't see Tim. Well, Tim is one of our newest Rotarians. He's the CEO of Presbyterian Communities and Services, so please, if you see him, be sure to wish him a happy birthday. It's actually today. We encourage all Rotarians to make a birthday gift of $1 for every year you've been around, or you can just round that to $100. Just think, if 100% of our members were participating in the birthday contributions to our club foundation, not only will each of us be qualified to be a Price Cross partner, but also all these foundation donations directly support our many community projects and help us stay active in benefiting our local and global communities. One of the fundamental tenets of Rotary is to encourage and foster high ethical standards in business. Please turn your rotograms over and you'll see on the back page there these dedicated members of our Backpage Network group. They're everyday examples of these standards, and they support the Rotary Club of Dallas by underwriting the cost of our rotograms. Our Backpage group meets once a month for breakfast and camaraderie to engage in important discussions about business and helping each other grow and flourish. I'm happy to say that our Backpage group is actually full. As you can see, every slot is filled, so that's great. But we do have a waiting list. So if you'd like to have first dibs on the next available spot, be sure and either see me or Jim Smith to be added to the waiting list. Today, our featured Backpage advertiser is Charlie Belcher. Charlie, come on up and tell us about your business.
Thank you, Dana. It's a great group. You will really, if you have a chance to get into it, you'll enjoy it. I'm one of the weakest members, but it's you learn so much from being in there. You really do. George Belcher, Evans, and Wilmer, we are an independently owned employee benefit brokerage firm. We're one of the few left that hasn't been bought out by national firms. And we'd like to think, and I think we can back it up by doing it, we can give the same type service. All of us came from large firms before we decided to have our own company. And we specialize in designing benefit programs, implementing them, and most of all, servicing them after we secure you as a client. We do medical, dental, vision, life, disability of all kinds, and executive benefits, and would love the right to work with you and earn your business. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate your support. Okay, 2 very quick announcements. First, Rotary Uncorked will be the place to be next Thursday, May the 10th. We're having it at Happy State Bank, thanks to Chris Castle and his very welcoming staff. Rotarians, please share the gift of Rotary with your friends, your family, your coworkers, and invite them to join us for a fun evening with food, fellowship, and opportunities to connect with other service-hearted people from around the world. Please RSVP to Chris Castle by Friday, this Friday, May the 4th. This is going to be a really fun party, so be sure and invite guests. Secondly, just very quickly on your tables, you will see the district governor's installation dinner announcement. So our very own Bill Slicker will be installed as the district governor for District 5810 on June the 19th, 6 p.m. cocktails. I think Bill's paying for cocktails for everyone. Seriously, I really do think that. I really do. At least one for everyone. So that's a great reason to go. But let's go and support our district governor. Oh, and you can register on the website. I think all those details are here on this card. Okay, now for a very special presentation, let me call Charles Ashcraft up, and he's going to give us a very special presentation.
Thank you, President-elect Dana. Now, I was very disappointed of your reception of Dana when she walked up to the podium and greeted. You can do better than that. How about, it's a great day to be a Rotarian, Dana? Come on. Anyway, thank you, Dana, and I think you'll make a good president. It's my privilege today to do a high-level overview of the successes of SAV from 2005 through 2017. And following me, we will have Rotarian Chris, who will make an introduction of our special USO DFW guest, and he'll also make a check presentation at that time. And after that, he'll be followed by Rotarian Shelby, who will do an introduction of our George W. Bush Center guest, and she will also make a special announcement. So I think we got a few surprises for you today, and hopefully you'll like them. For those of you who are not aware, we had our first SAV event on November the 9th, 2005. And I have to tell you, we had 7 committee members, we had no sponsors, and we did not have a keynote speaker 2 weeks out. But we pulled the event off. Oh, I also must say we didn't make any money, but we still made a donation to the USO DFW. And that was the first year they had opened their doors, and we've continued with that for the last 13 years. Year 3 of SAV, we appointed a chairperson, we established committees, and we mapped out a footprint. And let me tell you about the success in the last 13 years of SAV. We've had 5,734 attendees. If you average that out, it's 441 attendees per event. We've raised $506,000, and that's an average of 38,900. And that includes year 1 and 2, which again, we didn't make any money. We just gave a donation to the USO. As of this year, we have given $99,000 to the Veterans Coalition of North Central Texas, and as of today, we will have given $407,000 to the USO DFW. Rotarians, give yourself a hand. That is quite an accomplishment. I think it's also appropriate this time to give a very special shout out and a thank you to our Rotarians who have served on the SAV committees. I call it the generous giving of their TTLC. And you say, what is TTLC? That's the generous giving of their time, the sharing of their talent, a positive display of their leadership skills, and their sincere collaboration, as team members. And let me tell you, to put on SAV in today's world takes a lot of time and a lot of effort by our volunteers. So thank you, volunteers. At the same time, we owe a big thank you to our sponsors. Many of you in the room today are sponsors. If you have sponsored the SAV, would you please stand up in any fashion? I know many of you are here. I know Charlie's here, Shelby's here, even if Miles is here. We thank you for your sponsorship, both where it's an in-kind gift or a hard dollar gift. And we owe a big gratitude to the Ross Perot Foundation. As you guys know, without them, we would still have SAV, but I don't think we would be at $500,000 in donations. So a big thank you to the Ross Perot Foundation, and we've got them on again this year. I think you all know this, but if you don't, as Rotarians, as the Rotary Club of Dallas, we do make a very positive impact on the DFW community with our projects. I think you see it with I Like Me, any project, Bike Rodeo. Look at the impact we had a couple of weeks ago with Bike Rodeo. So SAV 2018 is formally underway as of today. David Cross, our chairman, and David is going to be chairman again this year. And I think this is at least his 3rd time, and I think his 4th time. But David's out of the country, so he asked me to do a reminder. We always need a few good men and women as committee members. So with your help, we can make a bigger impact in supporting our veterans and our men and women in uniform who are proudly serving our company. So as we move through the next couple months, please see David, please see Shelby, please see Chris, please see myself. There's a ton of you who will take your name, will get you involved, and we'd love to have you involved. It's a great program. And we are working on a keynote speaker. We can't give you one today, but it won't be 2 weeks out. We hope it's several months out. Anyway, at this time, it's my pleasure to turn over the podium to Rotarian Chris. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. I'd like to introduce our 2 guests and partners from the USO DFW. If you would please stand and join me up here in the front. Stephanie Melson, coming up now, is with the USO DFW, is the center director for the past 3 years, and then Deborah Roper is the center operations and program manager responsible for over 300 volunteers for the past 4 years. You'll find them in their new home over at the USO at DFW at the airport in Terminal B, Gate 47, and we're happy that you could join us today. Like Charles said, for the past 13 years, since the beginning of Salute to American Veterans, we have partnered with the USO DFW. Why? Because they support the active military, their families, from the time that they join the service until transition back to our communities by connecting them to their families, homes, and country. The USO operates in over 200 locations at and near the military installations across the U.S. and airports and around the world, including combat zone. The USO DFW, since they opened, has really supported over 2.2 million military men and women and their families with the best in-class service that you could ask for. It's the only way to show our thanks to the men and women that sacrificed for our country. On a personal level, I'd like to thank the USO. My father in World War II was a beneficiary of the USO. My uncle in Korea, my brothers in Germany and Korea, and my nephew in Afghanistan. So it's really personal that you guys have provided them just a little bit about home and what it's like. Well, it's my great pleasure with our President-elect Dana that I would like to present the Rotary Club for the Rotary Club of Dallas a check in the amount of $20,246.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful for not only the generosity of the Dallas Rotary, but also our partnership that we've enjoyed for so many years. So thank you again. And also, I do want to add to your facts, the DFW airport location is the largest airport in the world, USO airport in the world. So, yep. Thank you all again so much.
Now, this would not have been possible without the generous financial support and the hard work of members of this club and the Dallas business community. Now, we're working on our 2018 event that's scheduled for Wednesday, November 17th at the Frontier Flight Museum. And now Shelby would like to share some interesting new facts about 2018 as she comes forward hobbling.
Hello, everyone. Throughout the 14 years the Rotary Club of Dallas has hosted the Salute to American Veterans, the members of its planning committee have worked hard to ensure the funds raised through the event have a direct and lasting impact on our veterans and our military service members. As part of this effort, a subcommittee made up of Charles Ashcraft, Chris Colgan, David Cross, and myself were asked to explore a new possible partnership for the funds raised through SAV, the Bush Institute's Military Service Initiative. The subcommittee was quite impressed with the work happening at the Bush Institute and its teams help veterans make successful transitions back to civilian life through their focus on gaining meaningful employment and overcoming the invisible wounds of war. We were also delighted to see the synergies between our two organizations. The bipartisan Bush Institute's mission is to solve today's most pressing challenges through work like its Global Health Initiative, Education Reform Initiative, and Women's Initiative. Efforts very much in line with our own Rotary International's charge to be people of action through causes including providing clean water, as we know very well here with our club, supporting education, and saving mothers and children. So I'm delighted today to announce that the funds raised through the 2018 SAV event will go to benefit the programs and services at both the USO DFW and the Bush Institute's Military Service Initiative. With us today are two distinguished guests from the Bush Center, Betsy Martin and Colonel Matthew Amadon. Betsy is the director of the Corporate and Foundation Relations. She works closely with the Bush Institute program directors to obtain support of its projects, including those that support the U.S. military veterans. She also has been our fantastic point of contact throughout our due diligence process, helping us determine programs that are the right fit for our funds in the short term and hopefully for the long term. Colonel Amadon is the director of the Military Service Initiative at the Bush Institute and leads its day-to-day efforts and the team leading policy and programmatic work on veteran transition. Colonel Amadon has served in both active duty and reserve capacity since 1994 and was recently appointed by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to the Creating Options for Veterans Expedited Recovery Commission, or easier to say, COVER. COVER provides advice to the VA, the President, and to Congress, and examines the benefits of integrative treatments for the mental health conditions of veterans. And as those of you who have attended SAV over the last few years, that has been a very hot topic with our speakers. Now it is my honor to welcome Colonel Amadon to the podium to share a few words about the Bush Institute's Military Service Initiative.
Thank you so much for those kind words. Nobody has used the word distinguished with me previously, so I do appreciate that. What I'm normally used to, ladies and gentlemen, is the look of utter disappointment when people are expecting the 43rd Commander-in-Chief and then they get me. But however, I'm deeply honored to be here and deeply honored to represent MSI as you consider us for resourcing. I just want to take a couple minutes and talk to you about what that will do and what it will impact, in fact. And so we all remember back to September 11th, where we were, what we were doing, and I think we can all agree that those horrific events impacted our professional and personal lives in some way. But what they did do is invoke a global security challenge that remains to this day. However, what they did do was highlight the true leadership, sacrifice, service, and resilience of your post 9/11 warriors, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about them. Since 2001, 2.8 million of our service members have deployed overseas to Iraq or Afghanistan, many of them more than once, and many for extended periods of time. We all know the sacrifice that's been made. Over 6,800 have been lost, 52,000 wounded, 1,600 severe amputations, but again, what we are interested in as well is the invisible wounds of war, and what we do know that at any one time walking the streets today from the post 9/11 cohort, as many as 550,000 of our post 9/11 warriors could be experiencing PTSD. This isn't to talk about the 338,000 who have a diagnosed traumatic brain injury. And so that is the challenge, but it's also the opportunity. Why do we do this work? To support, as you said, effective and successful transitions. It's easy to say and hard to do. We believe that it's the moral and social, which you all know so well. It's just simply the right thing to do for those who've worn the nation's cloth. This is, however, an issue of national security, as this is the first time our all-volunteer force has been tested with an enduring conflict. Finally, however, it's global competitiveness and civic leadership, and that's where I think it nests so nicely within the conversation and the presence here today. You can change national issues, but you do so at the community level. And it's important community leaders like Rotary of Dallas that can do just that. We believe your post 9/11 warriors are tomorrow's community leaders. And so at the Bush Institute, our work inspired by President and Mrs. Bush, we focus on that successful transition, but how do we do that? We spread accurate awareness and demand accountability, and there's a need for that. We convene the many disparate leaders who are interested in this to establish a common vision, but most importantly, and why I'm here today, is to say thank you, because we then take action, and that's the most important thing, through a variety of very compelling programs that are positioned for sustainability. We have, and thank you for mentioning our portfolio areas. One of the core transition issues is finding the next career. It's not just the job, it's the career. And so we work with key partners to help our transitioning service members do that through our Veteran Employment Transition Roadmap. It's just a way to help you think about what the next steps may be, so you don't just jump randomly into the next job and remain a little disappointed with a lack of fit. We have 75,000 unique users of that roadmap right now, and version 2 planned for this year will get many more than that. Our health and well-being efforts, currently comprised of our Warrior Wellness Alliance, matches those who are in need with the invisible wounds with best-in-class care providers, and our membership base as of today is over 1.1 million. So we're very excited about finding those people the care they need, because like it or not, if you get appropriate care for the invisible wounds, this is most certainly not a life sentence, and our nation can enjoy their continued leadership for years to come. And finally, as my way of saying a more appropriate thank you to the thoughtfulness here today, our Team 43 efforts. We started, candidly, 6 years ago as a bike ride and a golf tournament. Why? Because that's what the president likes to do. But we've continued, and it's been a remarkable journey. As of today, we have 156 alumni warriors and their families in our network. And they will, to a person, tell you that involvement within our Team 43 sports initiative was life-changing. And we believe that, and they would be the first to tell you that. So what this incredible generosity is doing, and my way of closing and saying thank you, is you are empowering continued leadership. I hope you can come out and see someday a double amputee swing a golf club, because it's not supposed to happen, but it does. And I was standing next to 2 years ago one of my childhood heroes, Tom Watson, the pro golfer, and I said, Mr. Watson, how does this happen? And he said, physically it's not supposed to, but it does, because of drive and resilience. And so resourcing our Team 43 amongst other efforts honors service, sacrifice, resilience, and continued leadership. And that is the work I'm honored to continue doing. And in that, I would say just a very heartfelt thank you to all of you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We are very excited about this new partnership and honored to again partner with the Dallas USO, the DFW USO. Thank you guys so much. Okay, now we can get to the reason that we're here today, to hear about our amazing speaker. Our chair of the day is Steve Cotton. Steve is a financial planner and investment manager with Cotton Wealth Management and Associates here in Dallas. You may have seen his company's profile in the Texas Monthly magazine, as he's been recognized as a 5-star professional wealth manager in the state of Texas for 7 years running. Steve has been a member of our club since 2005 and has led our Outstanding Teacher Awards program for many years, served on our board of directors, has assisted with Camp Enterprise, our annual bike rodeo, Salute to America's Veterans, Angel Tree, has worked on the food assembly lines for our hunger projects, was one of the original co-founders of our Top Secret Cigar Caucus, and has served as the committee vice chairman on the membership committee and the Rotary Uncorked event team. And this is just a sampling of the many ways Steve has contributed to our club over the years. Please welcome my dear friend and our chair of the day, Steve Cotton.
Thank you, Dana. Kudos to the Bush Institute, by the way. I've been a docent at the museum, and y'all do superb work. We're thrilled at the potential partnership. I want to thank Susan Fleming for her lovely invocation and very thoughtful invocation. One of the reasons I asked Susan to do that today was because she takes care of her mother, her elderly mother at home, who is about to turn 101, if you can believe that. I'm behind you. I take care of my elderly mother at home, and she's only 87, so she's a youngster. But we have a very special program today for you, arranged by one of our members, Judge Brenda Hull Thompson. Judge Thompson set up this program, asked Courtney to come, and then one of Judge Thompson's professional associations scheduled a meeting out of state on top of our meeting, if you can imagine that. And Judge Thompson is head of their curriculum committee, so sort of had to be there, and so she sends her apologies. But I'll try to honor her with our program today. We've got a very interesting program. It's one we have not had in a long time, and it's called Making Older Better in Dallas, which is the motto of the organization that our speaker represents today. She represents an organization that's been around here in Dallas since 1961 and is the go-to place for seniors in Dallas to get assistance, advice, education, all kinds of resources. Because of my work helping seniors in my financial practice, Judge Thompson asked me to do this and knew of my work in the area. And the problem of senior financial abuse specifically, which is just one small part of what the Senior Source deals with, but I saw that up close and personal. Before I introduce our speaker, I want to tell you a quick little story about how real this is. One morning I got a call from an 89-year-old client of mine, sweet woman, everybody's grandmother, and she says, well, I did something yesterday and you're probably not going to like it. And I said, well, what did you do? And she said, well, I bought an annuity at the bank. And I said, well, what? Tell me about it. She said, well, I don't really understand what it is, but I did it yesterday and I'm kind of nervous about it. And I said, well, how much money is involved? And she said, about $86,000 of my money, all my savings basically. And I said, well, would you like me to look at what you bought and explain how it works? Oh, would you do that? That'd be wonderful. So I went over to her apartment and looked at everything, and 3 days before she would have been ineligible for that investment product, J.P. Morgan Chase slammed her into a deferred fixed indexed annuity with a 10-year surrender penalty period on it, which means she couldn't have gotten her money back for 10 years without paying a penalty. It was one of the worst cases of institutional financial abuse of a senior I think I've ever seen. So I was able to rescue her money, every penny of it, and we got her out of that very poor investment option. But it just showed me again how seniors are preyed on, they are at risk. The phone solicitors are very busy, the out-of-state boilerplate operations are very busy, and this is an area I'm particularly concerned about and try to fight every time I can. We're honored today to have Courtney Nicolato here. Courtney is president and CEO of the Senior Source, which is the go-to institution in Dallas for senior education and resources. It's a great organization. I've been familiar with it for many years, and our own Tim Dwight, who's a member of our club here, sits on the board as their treasurer. So thank you, Tim, for your service to them in that area. I want to tell you just very quickly about Courtney. She's a native of Rhode Island and had to get a visa to come to Texas. She and her husband have been here since 2005, so we're delighted you got here. We're glad to have you. Courtney is the proud mom of 2 kids, Jacob, age 10, and Ian, age 7. So she's dealing with seniors on the one hand and small kids on the other. And she and her husband are members of Temple Shalom here in Dallas. And the interesting thing is she does triathlons in her spare time. Now, my view on triathlons is it never, a triathlon never killed anybody, but why take the risk? But she's a great athlete, a great champion for seniors. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Courtney Nicolato.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Steve, so much for the welcome. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention Charlie. We at the Senior Source are proud clients of GBE&W, and so it's nice to see that. And so we've worked with Libby and Tom George very closely, so I couldn't be more thrilled when we saw you guys here as well. So as the slides are coming up, just a quick question for everyone. Who's gotten a call from the IRS? Anyone? Yes. IRS will never call y'all, by the way. And who has cared for an aging loved one in your lifetime? Yeah. And it's something that all of us are connected to and understand. And so I'm thrilled to share with you a little bit about the Senior Source, the work that we do. I want to be mindful of your time as well. And I want to touch on the specific area of elder financial abuse as part of the discussion today. So I want to make sure, there we go. Yay, everything's working. So a couple of things. 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every day. When they say the boomer population, it's no joke, y'all. I mean, it's legit. Also, half the U.S. population is 50 and over today. And the 65 plus population is projected to increase by 57% between now and 2030. Many of my board members will tell me that that's job security, and it really truly is, because we got a lot of work to do. Also, 78% of senior households are at some level of financial vulnerability. They are economically unstable. In Dallas County alone, we look at the 45 plus population, because we do serve 50 and over. 31% of folks in Dallas County in that population are at or below the poverty line. And so it is a significant issue around the country, but most specifically here close to home. Also, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but Texas does not rank high in quality of care in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Did anybody have the opportunity to see the piece by Charlotte Huffman on WFAA around senior care? She's done a series and will continue to. She worked with us specifically on the issues that are facing our older adults and their risk for abuse in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. I would encourage you to go to the website at WFAA.com and watch that piece and learn about the things that collectively we need to do to support and protect our older adults. We rank 46th in the country. Many people ask me, well, who ranks number one? Rhode Island, in case anybody was wondering. Where's where my parents are. And a big fat grade of an F. And lots of that, and I'm getting on my soapbox for one quick second, is the lack of regulation in nursing homes in the state of Texas. Nursing home lobbyists are alive and well in this country, in this state, unfortunately, and our regulations are deregulated at best. So one of the key areas that Charlotte touched upon was CNAs, which are the certified nursing assistants. These are the folks that do everything at nursing homes, have to be background checked when they get their licensure and never background checked again. And so there's a significant amount of folks in Dallas County who are working, protecting, showering, taking care of every need of older adults who have felonies on their record. And so we have work to do to advocate for our older adults. Caregiving is a booming issue as well. Pun intended. 29% of the U.S. population is caregiving today. That's more than 1 in 4 individuals. So that's when most of you all raised your hand, because we've all been through it and we've all had the scenario. Caregiving is affecting our livelihood, how we work, how we manage our stress, our mental health and issues in our country. These caregiving, you will find, is a key, what they call social determinant, that's driving much of our life and our livelihood. I am a perfect example of being in the sandwich generation. I have my kiddos that I'm managing and loving and taking care of and making sure they're all set, and I'm caring for my father-in-law who just had shoulder surgery, who is living at my house right now, right? So many of us are in those scenarios. Caregivers are dedicating at least 20 hours a week to age and care for an aging loved one, and the cost to our country is about $375 billion with a B dollars. So there's lots to do, and I know all of us do with the kindness of our heart to take care of the people that we love. The Senior Source is focused on taking care of those who do not have those great family members, and you'll be surprised how many there actually is. And so the Senior Source, as Steve mentioned, has been around since 1961, focused on ensuring that all older adults have the quality of life they deserve and that they thrive. Last year, we served 39,000 older adults in Dallas and Collin counties alone, ensuring that they are protected, got the assistance that they need, and they are loved when they have no one to love them. So I just want to touch very quickly on a couple of programs, and then we'll go into detail around our Elder Financial Safety Center. But our caregiver support program is open to everyone. If you need a reference to a nursing home or assisted living facility, if you want to know where the local support groups are for other caregivers like you do not do it alone. Call us. Let us help you through that process. Let us give you the answers that you need. Don't try to let Dr. Google take care of everything. Let us help you through that process. Our Senior Companion Program matches low-income older adults who are volunteering to help older adults, many of which who have dementia and Alzheimer's, remain to live independent as long as possible. We call it the win-win program, where both sides are getting a ton out of it. And our elder care partners is our one fee for service program. Let me give you just a scenario, which is the scenario we get all the time. You live in Minneapolis, or you live here in Dallas, Texas, and your mom lives in Minneapolis. Mom refuses to move to Dallas. That never happens, right? I mean, and then they call and say, you go and visit them, and all of a sudden you realize things aren't good. Mom's not okay. I'm really worried about it. Mom will say, you are my daughter. You do not get to parent me. You do not get to tell me what to do. And then we have nurses and social workers on staff that can go visit mom, can meet with her, can see what's going on, can do an assessment of her home, transportation, healthcare, everything, and determine the best course of action for mom. And daughter's life just became 10 million times easier. All the proceeds from that program goes into a nonprofit program to serve low-income older adults. Elder Financial Safety Center is a program that protects older adults. I'll touch on that in a second. But we also, with our partnership with the probate courts and Judge Bridget Hull Thompson, we are appointed guardians of older adults who have no family members to serve in that capacity. And so we have 120 individuals that literally we are at the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning, many of my staff last night, in fact. We have that are buying the blankets and the clothes and the shampoo and you name it. We become their family in every way, shape, and form. We do not take on the role of guardian of state. We take on the role of guardian of the person. And then our long-term care ombudsman program, just quickly, every nursing home and facility and assisted living facility in Dallas County, but throughout the country, has what's called a nursing home ombudsman. And so there's usually a cork board. It says your rights as a resident, and it has a name and a telephone number. That's us in Dallas County. So we are in all 300 plus facilities. We work on behalf of the resident. The facility has to let us in 24/7, 365. We do all of our visits are unannounced. We show up on Christmas, and we make sure that they are taken care of. Are they being bathed? Do they eat? Are there bed bugs? Are they being taken care of? We handle just my staff. I often call our superheroes. They should have capes on when they walk through those nursing homes because we rank 46th in the country, right? We handle about 5,500 complaints just at the senior source for older adults each year, and we have the best resolution rate in the state. And then our services that connect older adults, we have an advocacy arm. So if you want to go down to Austin with us, we bring 3 buses every other year. If you want to meet with our legislators and talk about the needs of our older adults, we have an advocacy program that we would love for you to join. And then we have 2 what's called senior core programs, and these are the AmeriCorps equivalent for older adults. Foster grandparent is absolutely as cute as it sounds. It is low-income older adult volunteers who are volunteering with kids with special needs. And so we are in Head Start programs, we are in working rocking babies in the NICU, you name it. We have about 110 volunteers throughout the community. And then RSVP is the match.com of volunteerism for older adults in our community. If you want to volunteer, if you want to give back to the community, come to us and we can make sure we find the best fit. So now just briefly, I want to talk to you about the Elder Financial Safety Center. Elder financial safety is a huge issue in this country. It's a $36 billion issue, billion with a B, and that goes incredibly underreported because quite often they're being abused or exploited by their family members. And so that's when they can come to an organization. We, with the leadership of Judge Brenda Hull Thompson at the probate courts as well as the district attorney's office, created this center 4 years ago this week with the goal of eradicating elder financial abuse in our community. So just to give you an idea, we talked about the 78%, but 950,000 seniors in our community are skipping meals. And many of our clients we see are making that tough decision as to whether they are going to eat, take their medication. They will always make sure that their roof is over their head last. So they will let go of their car, they will let go of their food, they will let go of all of those pieces of the puzzle. We try to make sure that we catch them before they're in that predicament, but quite often we get folks as they're right in the middle of it. So just to give you an idea, the center, when it was created, was really focused on cutting the red tape when someone has been abused, because what we were finding is when they were being victimized, they would then go out without anything, without money, without anything, without justice for years. Our older adults don't have years in some circumstances. We also found that many of our older adults that fell victim were embarrassed. They didn't have somewhere to turn to. So we needed to bring social workers and folks, clinicians into the mix to help them through the embarrassment as much as getting the justice that they deserve. And so this program is a partnership with the DA's office as well as the probate courts. We do a lot of work in preventing and educating our community on what those exploitations are, aka in the scams, which we all know are getting more and more sophisticated by the day. Everyone gets something on their computer that looks just like the IT department, and it's not, right? And people are clicking on it. Staff members get instructions from me to wire money, which they all know that that will never be. I will never ask it that way. But they're real, and they look real, and they're legitimate. And so we do a lot of work out in the community to educate what those scams are so that we can help prevent them. But when they do happen, we work really closely with that older adult, get a budget situated, help them through that journey, make sure that they're signed up for the right benefits that they deserve and they need, as well as finding the justice and getting them through that process as quickly as possible. So in the 4 years we have, and in 2017 alone, we've served 4,700 people through that process. In the 4 years, we've served 16,000 older adults in our community. We had a goal. This program is the very first in the country. We had a goal of serving 3,500 people in 5 years. Clearly, we're vastly underestimating the power of this program because we vastly underestimate because it's so underreported. I'll give you a scenario at the end, but another scenario that we had is we had an older adult, the kids called us and said, Mom's not doing well. I think she needs to be in a guardianship. I don't think she's managing her money correctly, this, that, and the other thing. We call Mom. Mom goes, no way. These kids are trying to take my money. I am fine. And so we, as the third party, could bring in a clinician and do a health assessment. And mentally, she was fine. The kids were trying to take $14 million in assets. And so having this type of center to be able to solve this huge problem and save $14 million for that poor woman was critical. This is family. If you expect or see any type of abuse, whether it's financial or physical, by the way, you are mandatorily have to report that. In the state of Texas, we are a mandatory reporting state. So if you believe that someone's being abused, if you believe that someone's being financially abused, you have to report it, by the way. You guys are now stewards. The capes are on. You got to make it happen, right? And that is to the Adult Protective Services is where you report it. If you have questions, you can come to us. The biggest part of this center is that we have saved or decreased expenses, but we've had a financial impact for these older adults, these 16,000, of $75 million in the 4 years that we've been in business. And so this is the whole center, and this is a very long slide, so being purposeful of time. I do want to touch on Money Smart for older adults. This is a program that we've implemented throughout the community that's focusing on educating and empowering older adults. I can't tell you how many folks come in, they've either lost a spouse who was managing their money, and they don't even know where their accounts are or what to do. We suggest they go through this class and really just to boost financial literacy. So you'll see that the middle one, 76% of people strongly agree that they are now prepared, right? Versus where they are before. 83% strongly agree that they can now recognize financial exploitation when it presents itself. This is huge. And this program is 40 hours of intensive work. And we host these in churches, various different groups, and we would love if you're interested in us hosting this at one of your organizations or one of your facilities, let us know. And just to give you an idea of the justice part, I love this, is when we get the bad guys. The DA's office last year had 502 indictments. Before we created the elder abuse unit, they had less than 100. And so the work that we have done to put the bad guys away has been amazing. We also have insured through this program because there are a lot of what we call naughty guardians. These are folks that are family members who are exploiting older adults. We have been able to do more evaluations earlier on and be more proactive, and we've been able to release those guardians and protect that older adult. And this just talks about that $75 million and the impact that we've made, as well as we've empowered, meaning we've educated folks like you on financial security scams and frauds to the tune of about 31,000 people last year. And then I'll just end with the story of Ray and Delphina. Ray and Delphina are this beautiful couple who have lived in Dallas all their life. Ray was worked at a local company and retired a few years back. And Fina, as we call her, was worked as well, but also spent some time with the children during her career. They had a nice neighbor who came and visited with them and built a relationship with them and would mow their lawn for them and take care of them. But this nice neighbor was also a real estate developer and built a relationship, spent a long time building a relationship with them. He, over a conversation, had mentioned that they should consider going into a real estate deal with him. And they invested $42,000, their entire life savings, to this man. In return, they were going to receive a $600 a month check until it was fully paid off. And so the checks came for a couple months, and then, as you can imagine, he and the checks went away. They were referred to by Goodwill to us. We visited, met with them. We worked through their budget to get them through the scenario as it was at that point. We brought in one of our board members to help on the civil side. And I believe in about 16 months, we were able to recover $123,000 of that $142,000. They are now okay. They are stable. They are still living in their home. We got them through that scenario, that 16 months, where they were financially strapped so that they could remain in their homes and they could remain stable. And as a result, Fina and Ray are now thriving. And that is one of the 16,000 stories that really make an impact of what our center does. So just a quick note, many folks ask what I can do. There's lots of flyers and cards and information on your tables. The things that we ask is, one, volunteer. 50% of older adults in nursing homes never get a visitor, ever. Talk about isolation. Spend a Saturday with your family. We'll set it up. We'll make sure you're taken care of to go visit with them. Show them that you care. Volunteer for our organization. We have lots of great volunteer opportunities that I'd love to share with you. Also advocate. If you want to help us amplify our voice, we want to hear it. We want you to join us. And so let me know, and let's talk about ways that you can help us in that regard. And I am a nonprofit CEO, and my treasurer is sitting right here. Should you wish to donate to our agency, senior social services is the hardest to fundraise for. Many folks think about kids' health and education. We must not forget our seniors in our community. And so should you wish to donate, we will happily and be gladly accept that. So I'll stop and see if there's any questions. And just thank you so much for your time and your opportunity to talk to you about our senior source.
Thank you, Courtney. Courtney, in recognition of and appreciation for your presentation today, we have given a donation towards a longtime Rotary Club of Dallas and Rotary International initiative to establish access to clean drinking water and sanitation in Ghana, Africa, for the villagers who live there, as well as our club's own initiative to develop dental hygiene and provide much-needed dental services to those villagers. I've had the pleasure personally to experience the trip there in Ghana and see our work firsthand, and this donation forever changes many lives. So we thank you greatly for your presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Guests and Rotarians, thanks for your presence today. I hope you enjoyed our speaker and our special presentations today as much as I did. Next week, we will meet right back here in this same room on Wednesday, May the 9th, and we will hear from Zamir Zajmi, General Director of Human, which is an NGO that is operating in Kosovo and the Balkans region. His topic is cultural heritage, intercultural dialogue, and the peaceful coexistence in Kosovo. So please invite your friends to lunch. Come join us to hear this fascinating speaker. All right. Now I invite all Rotarians to please stand with me and recite the four-way test, the standards that we encourage all people to live by. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And like we like to say here in Dallas, the Rotary Club of Dallas, number 5, is it fun? Thank you so much for being here today. We are adjourned.